I'd show you my face, but you've seen my face a million times. There's probably no reason for me to do it again. But this is kind of how things look right now. I was playing Planet Side 2 for about a week, and I decided to delete my account so those people who know me in the game, Batman Mandelbrot, and I started playing. I had characters, one called Robert Sapolsky, another one called John Oliver Rules, and the third was, dang it, see, John Oliver Rules was one. Oh, Shipka is a slut. Kiernan Shipka is she's a female, a celebrity whose name is also Kiernan. So, that was the first one I picked, but I wasn't really thinking when I picked it. Anyhow, those characters are not coming back, because I deleted the account associated with them, and if I do anything on my Sony PlayStation, it's going to be to play Fallout 4 because I deleted the game. I mean, I could always reload the game and open up another account, but then I would delete it, and so I have no plans of coming back to the game. That was just a test. I wanted to see if it had improved, if there had if it had the population had increased, if there were more people getting organized and playing the game, and it seems to me like it's just a ghost of its former self, that a lot of the original players have left the game, and the outfits are kind of clones of themselves, with new players that are inexperienced, and some that are really experienced. One thing I noticed is a lot of people were using rare implants. You would see a lot of people using the minor cloaks and the counter intels, and I'd see them all over the place. I'd be like, everybody's got them. What's the deal? And I guess people just save up their ISO so that they can get those rare implants, which are like 42,000 ISO per rare implant. And how long, give you an idea how long it takes you to get 42,000 ISO if you're not spending money on the game. It took me a week to put together about 1,000 ISO or so I could get various sorts of things. It's like every day they offer you about 100 ISO, and then the completion of every game is about, I guess that's like 150 or 200, so 300. And so you play for an entire day, you can get 1,000 probably. So maybe it's not so bad, but you have to play it for a whole month to get up enough ISO to get a rare. And the rare that everybody gets is the immunity one, the one that the Spitfires stop shooting at you, and the mines don't trip when you run over them. And that's the one that the light assaults like to use, because they can just hop all over the place and shoot people. And then they'll use a sensor shield 5 so that nobody can figure out where they are, so they can just hop around on a tower and just shoot people to death. And people will set up Spitfires and mines, and the only way to fight those guys is sit off at the side as a cloaked sniper or a cloaker, and just watch them move around and sit there and spot them. as they're hopping around. You just sit there and spot them, spot them, spot them. And that way, your guys will figure out where the guy is and kill him. And if you have an EMP grenade and they're up there on the, I know, as if they're hopping around, whatever shielding they have will go away for a short period of time. It will stun them a little bit, and it'll make killing them a whole lot easier. Something I always did whenever I was playing the game is I would throw EMPs everywhere. I would have like about, oh, sorry. I would have several of them, and I like four or five on a cloaker, and I'd be tossing them at the walls. And if there was, mines, or if I figured there were mines somewhere, I would throw them. Another thing that I was thinking about getting recently was a repair nade, because if they knock out on a tower, if they knock out your tank, your tank terminals, they blow up, they destroy the tank terminals. You can drop a repair nade on the floor, which is the ceiling to the repair to the tank terminals, and it will repair the tank terminals from an area of effect, because those repair nades go right through the walls, and so if you need anything repaired, like a terminal, they're a godsend, because you can just drop them on a wall nearby, or on a floor nearby, and things get repaired. But the solution to that is to have the cloakers come in and convert the terminals. Then you can't really do anything about it. You have to come in as a cloaker and convert them back. But I was thinking also, maybe I could make a song about PlanetSide, and maybe that would improve the number of people playing it. But I thought, it's one of those games that there's no telling how long it will be around. It'll probably never be the thing it was, because it just, it looks so old and dated that the only people really playing it are people that have never seen it before, and people who have been playing it forever. It's not going to be everybody in the world, and it's not going to be the world that it used to be, unless somebody just completely remakes it. And it's just not going to be it's just, the other thing is that it's really a fantasy more than it is a reality, because since the internet has got so much latency, to have an actual CQC fight, even with the numbers that they're pushing, is practically a pipe dream, because there's just no way the internet can provide you the low latency needed for a CQC fight to be effective, to be real. And how they compute who got shot by what is a crapshoot. In fact, I think the engine itself has some logic to how that works out, but it's not accurate. It can't possibly be accurate at all. And that's the reason why people are always complaining about their guns not working, or that they put so many shots into somebody, or they had this kind of gun or that kind of gun. The thing they don't get is the only people who are going to have any real effect in that game are those with explosives. The weapons that are um, the weapons that explode and kill lots of people over a period of time that the explosion occur. The firing does have an effect, but it's really the only people that are going to die are the people being chased. The people who are pursuing are always going to kill the ones that are being chased. But if you're firing against each other, then it's a crapshoot, you know. And so there's this perception that it's a fair fight, but it isn't. It's a fantasy. It's they're trying to satisfy your fantasy of needing to have that multiplayer, um, that massively multiplayer first-person shooter experience with real-time strategy. And I've come to the realization that the only way to really win the game is to play the RTS and you know, not to deal with the FPS so much, because the FPS pulls you away from the RTS. You end up spending a lot of time playing Doom and less time playing StarCraft. You know, you're not capturing bases, or you're not um, taking bases out, or you know, you're not doing the stuff of a real time strategy game. You're doing the stuff of a first person shooter. And when you're in the first person shooter, you're distracted. You're not really seeing the map. That's the reason why I always have to come up into faction chat and tell people what's going on, is because they're not watching the map. And a lot of them don't even know the map. And so it's kind of like, you know, that was the thing for the first year that I played that game. I didn't know anything about all the places, about the maps. And in those days, we had Esamir. We didn't have Osher. Osher was a new map. Hazen was fairly new. I guess that was the case. So there was like Hazen, Indar, Amarish, and Esamir. Then we lost Esamir, and then they brought back, and they brought one in, which was Osher. And Osher was a water planet. Yeah, I mean, there were continents on the same planet, but truly they're just different planets. I guess so. Amarish, which is green and lush, and Indar, which is a desert, and then there's Esamir, which is a snowy area, which we lost, and Hazen, which is a swamp. Yeah, I always like to call Hazen the armpit of Planetside, because it is just yucky. It's a yucky place. It's yucky to navigate. It's got brambles everywhere, and you know, the only people it's really good for are light assaults and ESFs, and for everybody else, it's a pain in the butt. I mean, for vehicles and whatnot, unless you've got um, an ant with a turbo, then you can go flying up the side of one of the cliffs and get on the top. And if you find a mag rider, you can go and push the shoot the mag rider and push them off the top of a mesa and make them go down the other side or something like that. And ants with turbo is really funny, because you'll get some flashes come that some sort of cocky flash comes along and starts shooting at the ant. The ant turns around and goes turbo, and the flash, you know, gets run over. The guy dies and is like, "What the fuck?" You just met an ant with turbo on it. You thought that you were looking at something slow. No, but when they go turbo, they go moving. This force causes the ant to go 3 times its speed, and it just runs you right over. It's like taunting a bull. You know, you start shooting at a bull, the bull's gonna ram you, and it'll be faster than you could ever imagine. It's also the same sort of experience if you ever tried to chase a what are those iguanas? Ever tried to chase an iguana? It's one of those experiences. You look at it and you look at its size and it's muscular and everything, and you think this. There's no possible way this thing could move. But once you chase after it, it just zips across the. It's like this thing could beat a cheetah. You know, it's that fast. And anyhow, well, I don't know if it was an iguana. The ones that I saw that were like this was in Mexico. I was staying in Cancun, and one of our guys got out there and got this idea that he was going to capture this iguana, and he went running for it, and the thing just zipped across the. I was like, "What the fuck?" Everybody was like, "What the fuck?" So, wow, that was a long time ago. And look at how awful my legs look like now. Those are diabetic legs you're looking at. And the left one right now has an ulcer on it that I need to have healed. And it's terrible. It's awful. I mean, this is not a disease that you want. You don't want to be eating lots of sugary things and end up like this, because just a little bit of sugar, like this morning, I did the most evil thing. I ate a cinnamon roll, and a cinnamon roll itself could do some pretty nasty things to me, and I know that. It was there. I was there. I felt like, maybe I can handle this. That's that's the thing that you go through as a diabetic, is learning how to not eat sugar, and learning that even a little bit of sugar is bad. You don't want to eat a slice of pizza. I mean, there are diabetics, and this is how I got in this shape, was that I started going back to like eating things like pizza, and I figure, oh, I can eat a pizza or half a pizza here, or I can do this, or I can do that. And sure enough, this is what happened. I uh, started getting. What happened was I had a hydrocolloid. I saw that there was water backflow on the legs, and this happens whenever um, the blood sugar is not managed. It has an effect on the workings of the vessels in the legs, and the blood doesn't properly circulate through the legs, especially if you haven't exercised. And then it creates a kind of pooling of water in the legs, and the water ends up pushing out to the dermal layer. And so you have this fluid that builds up under the skin, and then it eventually it just pops out, and the epidermal layer comes off, and it gets infected, and it forms an ulcer, and the ulcer gets bacteria. The bacteria eats at the skin. You have necrotic tissue. Eventually, the infection leads to things getting into the tissue, the under tissues, and then goes down to the muscle and the bone and whatnot. And pretty soon, there's nothing you can do, and they amputate your limb. So eventually, if I keep doing this, eventually I'll lose that leg, or this leg, or both legs. And that's what happens to diabetics. And it's because it's a result of not being in control of the blood sugar and not managing the wound. And this is good. This is going to be a month-long ordeal just to take care of the ulcer on this leg. And in that time, this one's just looking bad enough. It might actually, see, I have one down here, scratch down here, right there. That could turn into something. And so you just have to keep looking at your legs. And I had another place they have it is on the feet. You can see my feet are perfectly fine. It's only forming on the legs, but it's a real burden, and it's a real problem when it starts forming on the feet. Then you're really fucked, So the feet is like, if you have to have anything on your, toes, if you may think, well, I could probably have one toe amputated. You don't really realize how much you need those toes in order to walk. It can change. I mean, I had this finger right here was infected for a couple of weeks. I couldn't even wipe my ass because that finger is integral in wiping your ass. And my pinky has ulnar neuropathy. That means I can't feel it. And it's been like that for several months. And that even causes the functioning of my hand to be strange. It creates this kind of claw-like, this, what do they call it? It creates a, I got a name for it. I'm trying to recall. Crab. It creates a crab claw type. It makes it feel like this whenever you're using your hands, because these one finger is you can't feel one. The other one you tend to not feel much of on one side, and so those two feel like one finger, and so you end up having a stranger hand as a result. But oh man, you get old, you get to 55, which is what I'm at, and your body just starts accruing problems. I got AFib, I've got type 2. I'm not even monitoring my blood sugar, which I would like to. That would make things a lot nicer, but since I'm seen as a borderline diabetic, they don't see any reason for me to check my blood sugar. often with and they're not going to give me a glucose monitor, which would be nice. But she hasn't gotten that serious yet. And I don't exercise. That's the reason why I would like to have a glucose monitor, is so that I could see, I could see what would be a good time to start exercising, doing, you know. I don't know. I guess I'm just lazy, and I've always drunk what I wanted and eaten what I wanted and played what I wanted. And now I'm really starting to clamp down on things like that. And I was feeling bad when I was playing the video game. I was feeling bad that I wasn't making music. I was really bugged by the fact that I hadn't made a song in like a week. And so, with Udio, making songs is practically a game, because you're just choosing parts. But I still feel like there's an art to it. And, you just come out with what you come out with. So